Hello, good morning, happy Friday. I remember a time when Fridays were great. You could just manage things with that. Fridays had something great. Tom forgot to tell me the most important thing. I have a little note that I have to read and I didn't post it, so I'm padding for a couple seconds. Sorry, folks. Hey, most shows, if they knew what they were doing, they would probably have their opener in front of them when they started. No, not us. We don't do that. And we don't ask you those typical boring business questions like, hey, if you could make $1 million this weekend, how would that change your business? We don't ask those questions. Or your nonprofit, if your nonprofit could completely cure the world of whatever your passion is, how would you feel about that the next day? No, that's not us. We don't think those are the questions that drive results. As renegades, that guy right there and I, we're both renegades. As renegades, we want to provoke your thoughts. We want to make you think. We want to engage your mind so that you, not us, develop the solutions to your individual challenge and actually take action. We are focused on action, and this is the show where we're going to help you figure out what that next step should be. I'm Bob Graham. That's Tom Brush. This is today's Antidote, and today we are going to dig into a little deeper, Tom, the whole idea of accountability. And we've been talking all week about accountability, what it is, how it works, why it's so valuable, how to find an accountability partner. And then today we're going to handle it from a different facet. Can you start that discussion?
Sure. I think we've been talking a lot about how do you hold yourself accountable and how do you find accountability? I think the other side of it is how do you hold someone accountability? How do you hold someone accountable?
I was going to be kind. It's Friday.
Friday, tongue twister. Because there's the accountability partner, which is different than I'm the leader of the group. I need to hold my team accountable. I think those are two different scenarios. One, you have chosen someone to support you. And in the other, you are hired into a role, and here is, now you are responsible for this group of people and keeping them accountable to the goals of the organization.
So Tom, walk us through that a little more deeply in terms of some of your experience, because you work with a lot of teams and a lot of nonprofit teams, and this can often be an issue. I would think probably more so when someone goes from being in a role as a worker and then they become the leader or manager, which in nonprofits happens more than average, I think.
Yeah, I think, it's interesting because in one scenario, if I'm the accountability partner, someone has asked me to support them. And so the way I approach it, yes, I may sometimes have to ask them a challenging question. And I'm also there to support them and be their best. And now that's similar on the business side or in an organization, leading a team. And at the same time, you are now responsible for this group moving forward. And so the way that you hold them accountable may be different than being somebody's accountability partner. So within a team, if you're the head of the team and you're holding people accountable, you have to find ways to make sure they're achieving their goals. Or you have to potentially make changes, put them on a performance program, or maybe have to find a replacement for them or replace them. And so sometimes you have to be more firm than you may want to be as an accountability partner. I think there are similarities. And yet, when you're leading a team, the team's not moving forward. And that's your responsibility. At some point, if the person you're an accountability partner for doesn't move forward, that's in some ways their responsibility because they have asked you for that. And so I think there are some distinct differences. You're responsible. When I was running teams, we met on a very regular basis. That was usually at my discretion because I wanted to see how they were progressing towards their goals. And I would typically not only ask them to bring what are they working on, but I would have things that I want to make sure this is progressing.
One of the other big differences, Tom, that I see in that scenario is when you're working with someone one-on-one and you're holding each other accountable, it's not really a shared vision. It's me telling you what my vision is and then saying, help me create that thing I've just painted for you, the broad brushstrokes. Help me fill in the blocks. When you're dealing with the team, it seems to me that you've got to come up with that shared vision that everyone buys into. And I mean that advisedly. Literally, they buy into it. They say, yes, we are going to move the needle. We are going to increase sales by 30%, or we're going to increase this by 72%. And as you and I see, we have some things that we're doing individually, and we also have some shared goals that we're working on. And the shared goals discussion is a lot different at times, even with just two of us, because I think I have to morph into the right person to help that go along. So if it's an area where you're strong, you do those things. Where I'm strong, I do my things. And we have to think about that. And sometimes we even talk through it. We had a discussion this week where we talked in advance about what that would look like. And we assigned roles and played those roles, and it worked really well. That's different than when I just say, Tom, I need to figure out if I'm going to row. Help me row every day. It's one and done. But if I said to you, Tom, let's build the Ring of Renegades, our Facebook group, to be the premier group coming out of this pandemic, and you go, I'm in, Bob, let's do it. That discussion's broader, and that discussion also, because it's such a big thing, runs the risk that there are bigger roadblocks, and there are more global roadblocks than just row or not row. It's a yes-no discussion every day. With build the biggest group in the world. What are competitors doing? What's Facebook doing? What have we done that works? What have we done that doesn't work? And I think that's where that shared discussion, that shared vision, and that's where often, and I probably have a bias, but they have communication struggles with that.
Sure, I agree. I think Neil makes a great point here. Says too many times leaders set those goals unilaterally without team input, and team goals need to be team goals. And I wholeheartedly agree with it. I think it's a very interesting process of our goals passed down, or our goals created from below based on information and are moved up. Because the people who are down in the weeds doing things may have a different understanding of how things actually work, rather than at the top where they're looking globally about, okay, yeah, we got to get this done. But that doesn't mean they know the specific steps down in below. So when I was working with the team, I would always take, well, here is our goal the organization is saying, this is the goal for our area, big and broad. Now I want each of you to go back and say, how do you fit? What's your part in this role? And what are your goals that are going to help you achieve that part? So that when we put all the parts together, we have the goals as a team that we're going to do to help us achieve what the organization wants us to do.
I think that makes perfect sense. Where I find teams often struggle, and I've struggled at times, is in the whole idea of, I'm having trouble again.
We lost you for a minute.
I feel so lost. I think where it can be challenging is it's hard to know what to do. And unfortunately, in life, leading a team, being accountable is not something that we learn at a very young age. I've never seen accountability in the 21st century as a college course. I've never seen a community college on a Friday night or Tuesday offer a course that says accountability and how it could drive your results. This is something that most people find trial and error, observing others, and really, I don't know anyone who can tell me they nailed accountability their first time when they were leading a team, much less themselves. I think most of us stumble into success, don't know what it looks like, can't replicate it, and therefore we're prone to, even if I'm really successful in my accountability for this week, the wheels can come off the cart very quickly with absolutely no action internally or externally. It just happens.
Right. And it's interesting. I think that people who are involved in other groups, that's where they learn accountability. So if you're in a band, a musical performance band, and you're not holding your own as the first violin, that's going to impact the entire group. Or an athletic team, where if I'm the quarterback and I stopped, using my best receiver because I got in an argument with him or something, now I'm hurting the team. I'm not being held accountable. Or if I'm not working out so that I stay in shape, I'm overall hurting the team. And I think, it's funny, that to me is the benefit of the roundedness of academic experience. Is it's not just what do you learn in the classroom, it's how do you put it into practice. And sometimes in practice is where it happens with teams or organizations or groups. If you're part of the newspaper group and your responsibility is to write the classified column and it needs to be in by Thursday, well, if it's not in, you're not only impacting yourself, you're impacting everyone else. So the editor has to be able to say, hey, look, you said you were going to do this. We need to have it. If not, we're all going to suffer. And so I think that's I don't know how you teach that. That's the interesting part until you start experiencing it.
Well, I think you coach it. This is one of those soft skills. And with soft skills, you can't teach it as much as you have to either mentor or self-reflect on it. It's coaching and mentoring or self-reflection. Hey, this didn't work this time, so I'm going to do it this way that time. And you try different things. Ideally, if you have a mentor with you, the mentor or coach says to you, so describe to me how that meeting went. Oh, it's a mess. I felt like no one was paying attention. They didn't care. I'm telling them about our big vision. Okay, what did you say? Well, I said this, this, this. Oh, that didn't work. Okay, what's another way to do it? That's what makes what we call soft skills, having done a lot of research on them.
Really?
I even co-authored a book on them. Yeah, that's what makes them so vexing to people.
Where
Good
can they
word,
get that
by
book?
the way, vexing. You want to get that book? That's good.
Yeah, where can tell everybody where they can get your book?
You can go to Amazon and look for the 55 soft skills that guide employee and organizational success, not sex. If it if it did, that would probably sell better.
You had a great chance for a shameless plug.
But I bet more people paid attention to my faux pas.
Possible.
Yes. So Tom, let's get to the meat of the discussion today. Let's talk about that one thing someone can do that would make a difference in terms of accountability. We've given them little nuggets all week. What's that thing for today?
I'm going to go on the side of leading a team. And it being is you need to know what everybody's goals are to be able to figure out how to hold them accountable. And as a team leader, it's important for you to not only understand what their goals are, but how do they get motivated? And I think that's a big piece of it, is if you can figure out how people get motivated, you can better hold them accountable to what they're trying to achieve.
I like that. And the team, and I'll just throw this on, you could work with a team this weekend or today. That team could be your colleagues at work. That team could be your family unit. Perhaps Saturday is cleaning day and you have children and a spouse or someone else in your home, and you say to them, hey, we're going to clean the house. Let's see if we can get this done in 4 hours. You do this, you do this, you do this. If we get done in 4 hours, we celebrate this way. We often think of teams as this formal thing, but a team could be as simple as that. Or you're planning a happy hour over Zoom. Sorry, who does what on that happy hour? Who's responsible for inviting people? Who's responsible for making sure the technology works? Who's responsible for those things? And I think that's where you practice team skills and accountability skills, is doing the smaller things that the activities and you figure it out. Because when you get into bigger situations, you don't know exactly what the thing to do is. And that's where team and accountability becomes even more important. So, Tom, I'm going to give a shameless plug real quick. This is where you hit the Ring of Renegades button for me.
Wait a minute.
We have a group of folks dedicated to finding the solutions to the challenges of today, to going out and making their opportunities greater, to achieving greater success going forward, not sitting around and waiting for government funding, for someone to tell them what to do, for everything to go back to normal. They are looking for progress and success. That place is the Ring of Renegades, a Facebook group. And in that group, you will find like-minded, supportive, enthusiastic, exciting people. And if you join today, you will see our Friday happy hour celebration where we play some songs. I did not come up with the theme today, but I think I'm going to go with summer because it's really warm today. And I want to go with summer. So I'm thinking of my first song is going to be a song by Chuck Prophet that is one of my favorite songs in the world. So you'll have to look for that, Tom. Anyone else? Come to the Ring of Renegades, a Facebook group. We'll let you right in, and you will see some amazing people doing amazing things. They will inspire and motivate you. So with that, Tom, another week of today's Antidote. Can you believe we've done this many weeks? I think we're on like week 8, week 9.
We're closing in on 2 months.
Wow.
I think the 18th of March was our sort of like pre-launch show, I believe.
Okay.
Double check that, but I'm pretty sure.
Wow. So who would have thought when we started this, we didn't really have an end date or a vision for, how long it would go. It was just a start. So it's kind of funny, and it's become a really valuable part of my day.
It is a way to hold me accountable to how I start my day off.
And
so, yes,
I shouldn't tell you this because this is going to open a can of worms, but I really miss it on Saturday and Sunday.
Aww.
I know. And the other thing I forgot to say is we'll have a behind the scenes at some point today. If you're in the Ring of Renegades, we actually talk through the planning for this program for next week. And some people were telling me that it was really great insight into the iterative process and how you and I make things go.
This is from Neil.
Okay, I love this with my breakfast. Thank you guys. Have a great weekend. Neil Woodson, who's got a great book. I should have mentioned it, The Uncomplicated Coach. And that book really talks about how to lead teams from a coach perspective, not from a dictatorial boss perspective. It is great. He has some great action items in there, and I've heard so many people say it really has helped them as leaders. Uncomplicated Coach, you can find it online. Thanks for listening, Neil. Thanks, everyone else. Have a great day.
Everybody go out and make it a wonderful day, and we will see you on Monday.